All right, let's talk about a situation that I think pretty much every leader has faced at some point. You've got that one person on your team. You know the one, the person who smashes every target, the developer who fixes the impossible bug overnight. Their results, they're undeniable. They are hands down your best employee. And at the very same time, they are your single biggest problem.
And this right here, this is one of the toughest, most dangerous tightropes a leader has to walk. Because this person, this rock star, they might look amazing on a spreadsheet, but they cast this huge shadow over the rest of the team. They leave a trail of frustrated, demotivated colleagues in their wake. What we're really talking about here is a very specific challenge, a concept we're going to call toxic talent.
So let's be super clear about what we mean here. This isn't just someone who's a little grumpy or has a difficult personality. Toxic talent is specifically that dangerous cocktail of amazing performance mixed with damaging behavior. Yeah, they deliver the goods, absolutely. But the real question is, at what cost? And that's what we're going to dig into.
And you really can't overstate how high the stakes are. If you just ignore it and hope it goes away, you're basically just sitting on a ticking time bomb, waiting for it to blow up your team. But if you try to manage it and you get it wrong, well, that's like committing cultural suicide. You could end up poisoning the very soul of your organization. What you decide to do next, honestly, it defines the kind of leader you are. So let's look at the most common mistake. A lot of well-meaning leaders fall into what we'll call the hero leader's trap. They're so afraid of losing those top-tier results that they make what seems like a perfectly logical choice in the moment. But it's that classic path paved with good intentions, and it leads straight to a toxic workplace.
So what does this hero leader's playbook actually look like? Well, first, they start justifying the bad behavior with that one simple phrase. Yeah, but look at their numbers. They prioritize the what over the how. Then, they start creating special rules, a different standard for their star performer. And that sends a toxic message to everyone else. The rules don't matter if you're a top performer. And finally, they tell the rest of the team to just deal with it or ignore them, which basically asks good employees to absorb all the negativity.
And when you just lay it out like this, the flawed logic becomes so obvious, doesn't it? The hero leader thinks they're making a smart trade-off. Put up with some bad behavior to get amazing results. But the devastating reality is that you start losing your other good employees. Your collaborative, positive team players start heading for the door. And why wouldn't they? They see that bad behavior isn't just tolerated, it's kind of being rewarded. So if that's the trap, what's the way out? Well, that brings us to the complete opposite approach. This is the playbook of the elite leader. And this kind of leader, they operate from a totally different worldview. Their focus isn't on protecting one person, it's on protecting the entire system. Honestly, this whole explainer, this whole massive leadership challenge, it all boils down to this one single choice. Who are you protecting? Are you the bodyguard for your star employee, or are you the guardian of your team's culture? For an elite leader, it's not even a question. The culture is everything. And I love this metaphor because it just clicks. An elite leader sees their team's culture as its immune system. It's what keeps the team healthy and resilient. And toxic behavior? Well, that's a virus. And you'd never let a virus just run wild through your body, would you? Of course not. So why on earth would you let it happen to your team? Okay, so having the right mindset is huge, but it's not enough. You need to know what to do. So let's get practical. The elite leader has a very specific, almost surgical, 4-step action plan for dealing with toxic talent. This is where we turn the philosophy into a playbook. First things first, you can't hold someone accountable for breaking a rule that doesn't exist. So, the elite leader defines non-negotiable behaviors. And notice, these aren't vague corporate values like be respectful. No, they're concrete, observable actions. We do not interrupt colleagues. We share knowledge openly. This creates an objective standard, a bright line that applies to everyone, rockstar or not. Now, this is smart. The goal here isn't to punish the person, it's to change the behavior. So instead of just giving them solo projects where their individual brilliance can shine, the elite leader strategically puts them on teams where success is literally impossible without real collaboration. It's a brilliant move. It forces them into a corner. Either they change their behavior and learn to work with others, or their inability to be a team player becomes painfully obvious to everyone. All right, now for the part everyone dreads, the actual face-to-face conversation. But elite leaders don't wing it. They use a simple, devastatingly effective model: situation, behavior, impact. You're not attacking them with vague accusations like, you have a bad attitude. You're presenting facts. In this specific situation, you exhibited this specific behavior, and here was the tangible impact on the team. It's direct, it's data-driven, and it's almost impossible to argue with. Okay, this is where you make the invisible damage visible. The hero leader, they only see that first bar, the amazing individual results. But the elite leader calculates the cost. They measure that second bar, the negative impact on the team, the projects that got delayed, the good ideas that were shut down. And when you put them together and calculate the net contribution, you often find that your so-called star is actually a net negative on the organization. This isn't about feelings anymore. It's about hard data.
So, you've done all the work. You've set the standards, you've engineered the projects, you've had the tough conversation, you've shown them the data. Now comes the moment of truth. This is where leadership is truly tested. And let's be really clear here. This whole process is designed to give the person a genuine, honest-to-goodness chance to change. An elite leader provides feedback, coaching, and support. But, and this is a huge but, they are not infinitely patient. They establish a firm red line. If the toxic behavior crosses that line after all these interventions, the leader knows what they have to do.
So if it comes to that point, if you have to let this person go, you have to reframe it in your mind. This is not you failing as a leader. This is the ultimate act of courageous leadership. It is the loudest and clearest signal you can possibly send to the rest of your team that you value them, you value the culture, and you are willing to do what it takes to protect them. So we end right back where we started, with this simple, powerful question. The problem of toxic talent, it's really a test of your character as a leader. Your answer to this question reveals everything about what you truly value. So you have to ask yourself, who are you protecting? Your star or your team?